Hello and welcome back to Racketology. My name is Zach and today I'm going to be showing you how to string on a 6-point Gamma manual crank machine, while also showing some useful tips that will hopefully help you out with your future tennis frames to come. We will be using a tool set in this video that I personally recommend, which is going to include a starting clamp, bent pliers, flush cutters, 2 regular awls, a flathead screwdriver, and a blunt straightening awl. I did also put in this alpha tension calibrator which fits in the case, but I did purchase it separately. I will go ahead and link both the calibrator and the set in the description of the video, that way you can follow along. First thing we want to tackle is going to be our new tension assembly. Alright, so in comparison to my last video where we were talking mostly about our drop weight machine, we are now going to be focusing on our lockout. So I'm going to give a brief overview on how it works and break it down. Let's get started. This assembly is going to be using a spring, which can be adjusted to increase or decrease force onto the tension head. When you place your string into the gripper and begin pulling, you are directly counteracting against the force of the spring, which will cause the machine to release the brake lever. This action stops the disc plate. This is typically described as locking out, due to the fact that your string tensioner is now locked in place. Now, because this machine isn't using a weight and gravity, we have to be able to calibrate it, which Gamma recommends after every 50 rackets strung. I'll also go ahead and throw in my own suggestion, which is while you have a string machine inside a vehicle, it seems that due to the vibrations while being on the road, it can start to cause some subtle movement in some of the lightly tightened bolts, which should be double checked just in case. To get started checking our tension, go ahead and grab your calibrator. Then position your turntable sideways and lock it in place. Next, clamp one end of your calibrator string firmly. Begin making a standard pull just like you would when stringing. Wait for the machine to lock out. Now check the reading on your calibrator. If your reading is off, check the latching block and loosen your set screw. Use the appropriate size hex wrench to turn your adjustment screw. Turn the screw left to make the latch hold the lever for a longer period of time, which will equal higher tensions. Or turn your screw right to make the latch hold the lever a shorter period of time, which will result in lower tensions. Once you have it in the proper placement, go ahead and tighten your set screw back. After you have your tension calibrated, it's time to mount your frame and get started stringing. Mounting on a 6-point machine is simple. I personally start by adjusting my 12 and 6 o'clock post, making sure the racket is centered. Next, I start with my top mounts and turn them at the same time to get the racket as centered as possible, with a little amount of pressure from both sides. Adjust your side mounts until they are holding the racket with light pressure at contact. Avoid over-tightening mounts on a 6-point machine. It may end up with the racket being hard to remove after stringing. And finally, make sure your mounting posts are firmly tightened in place. Now before lacing your main strings, test out your clamps on the string and use the fingertip adjustment on the clamp to find a proper bite down. You don't want it so tight that it will damage the string, nor too loose in which the string will slip through and no tension will be held. A typical precaution that stringers may use is to place a starting clamp behind the fixed clamp on first pull. Direct tension on a clamp can cause a lot of strain, so to have peace of mind that your string won't slip, place your starting clamp next to the fixed clamp. Then make your pull. Once you can return to your main string, apply tension and remove the clamp. Continue doing the mains. making sure not to go over 3 mains more on either side. Once you reach the end of your mains, find your tie-off hole and make your finishing knot. Now we will begin stringing our crosses. I will show you a method involving your starting clamp. Simply pull your string at the end far enough to comfortably reach your tension head. Next, open your starting clamp and hold the string on the outside next to the frame. Then simply make your first pull. The clamp will hold the tension. Take your fixed machine clamp and hold the string. We will continue down our racket to at least our third cross before going back to the top and removing the starting clamp. You can also wait till the end to take it off, it just depends on your preference. Now that we have taken off our starting clamp, we'll make a finishing knot instead of a starting knot. We can do this because it no longer has a chance of sinking into our tie-off grommet, which would happen on a direct pull against a regular knot. As we go down our crosses, I will use my blunt awl to nudge the string back into a straight line instead of using my fingers. I'm also stringing my racket doing the one ahead method, in which you string one more cross than the one you applied tension to, which makes it easier to weave the next cross. finding our tie-off grommet and making a finishing knot. You can see that we have all the knots the same, which gives a nice presentation for the finished racket. Do a once over with your blunt awl to make sure all strings are in place. Then unmount your frame, and there you go, a strung racket using your Gamma stringing machine. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Go ahead, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date on all the future content that we're going to be releasing. Other than that, have a great day and happy hitting.